and the storms and lay the concrete. And his name is Paul Bennett. And I want to thank all the people that showed up, and Hank Angelo that was here as our mayor and supported us. Michael O'Brien came, and he was the man also that finished the project and had everything to the T for Peak Carriage by 2008. Thank you, Michael. Doug Franklin, who is here today with us, and our councilman Eddie Colbert, who represents the 7th Ward. They all are instrumental in keeping our site and this historic location on the map for Warren, Ohio. Let us not forget that we have not only Neil Armstrong, who took his first flight from this area, but we also have another astronaut in our area that lives across the street, his parents do, from me on Lexington Avenue, and that is Ron Parise. Ron Parise has gone on to be with the Lord, but we are, as a community, we will be making a statue, 3/4 length bronze, head and shoulder from his waist up, of Ron Parise in the corner where the flag is now. If anyone would like to accommodate and bring donations, if you knew Ron Parise or even our community of how he died, we want to get that project underway. Tony Iannucci, are you listening? Okay. He's a great man that has been my dad and mom's right hand for many, many years. I want to thank him too. If there's anyone that I left out, especially the workers, there's a gentleman also that was brought to my attention that he comes here with his dog 3 times a week, and he cleans the project, plants the flowers, and does things for the community. Why? Because his wife was initially working at Kmart and was so happy that this site was put here. He's honoring his wife and our community, and I thank him very much, and he knows who he is. And I want to say, people were talking about Neil being bold and he was adventurous. But there is another side of Neil that many people in the paper have said. He was a very humble man. He was very soft-spoken. Didn't give any interviews, not even to Oprah Winfrey. Didn't give any signatures to anyone after 1994 because he didn't want his signature to be used to exploit money. He was a very humble man. But I want to tell you, because of the school children, he came here. He came here because this site was put here so that children could never forget what space, what astronauts did. And you know, isn't that something that after he did that, NASA's no more. Neil Armstrong, if anyone saw the paper, did go to the National Congress meeting in May of 2010, and he was not happy with that, with it being taken, I'll just say it that way, out of our budget for National Space and Aeronautics Museum, NASA. But we will continue. As a nation, we will continue. With memories, we will continue. As people who believe in projects, believe in going higher than what we see around us, as visionaries, as dreamers, we will go on. Please, if you have children, let them not forget, even when the historical books leave out these things of NASA. There's one other person that said, I have a dream. And we all know that it was Martin Luther King. Neil Armstrong had vision. And I thank the Lord for that vision that day in the church in Washington, D.C., to come here and to be able to commemorate Neil Armstrong. God bless him. May he rest in peace. And thank you all for coming.
What I was trying to keep from falling over for my mom is a poster. John Kennedy made the statement that we should go to the moon. Neil Armstrong signed this. John Kennedy's thought of going to the moon was something that Neil Armstrong brought to fruition. And that's something that we can't forget. Right now, I would like to introduce Eddie Colbert. He is a 7th Ward councilman. His district falls in this area. He has been extremely helpful to our family in maintaining the site and all the volunteers. And he is a wonderful asset to this community. Whoever lives in the 7th Ward and voted for him, great job. Keep voting. Eddie?
I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. When I was contacted to ask you to speak about what this site means to this specific area here. And I figured it summed up in what I was told of one of the reasons why they wanted this site. It was to let the children know about space, to let the children understand more about NASA, space exploration, but also at the same time letting them know that there were roots here in our area. And when I see this, I think about the message that it embodies, not only to the youth, but to all of us. When you see something like this, and you understand where we came from, to where we went, in the idea of space exploration, I mean, obviously some of the things that they've done recently are a little more aerodynamic than we see now, but you see how it can start somewhere and finish in space. The idea of starting in Warren and being able to move to the stars, this is something that we have to look at across the board. Why aren't we looking for the cures of cancer here in Warren with our kids? Why aren't our kids looking for the newest advancements in green technologies? We always think that these things happen on a larger scale in a larger city somewhere else. But this right here, this embodies the message that these great things can happen right here in the city of Warren. It doesn't take someone else to do it. We have the power to do it. And it is shown by not only people like Mr. Armstrong, but also individuals like Mr. Pete Perry. This is a great example for not only the youth of our generation, but for all of us to step back and take a look and realize there is no need to wait to read about it in the big paper. We can read about it in the Tribune. We can see it on our local news. We can be the piece of the puzzle that leads to the evolution of our area. The people before us did it. It is up to us now to take that mantle and for us to help with that evolution to the next area of whether it is in what we look for jobs, our education, how we raise our children, or how we grow as a society. This embodies that message, that great things can happen from here. You don't have to wait. I thank you for coming. I thank you for the time. And at this time, I'd like to take the honor in introducing the Mayor of Warren, Mr. William Doug Franklin.
Thank you, Eddie, for those inspiring words. I'd like to, before I get started, just acknowledge some people who made this possible, and from the friends. This is Councilman this present. Mr. Bartholomew, Greg Bartholomew from the 4th Ward. I know he was here earlier. Also, Councilman Vince Glass. And, of course, as mentioned by already, former Mayor Michael Bryan, who many a day we sat in the office together with the Gary to he was giving our marching orders about how to keep this place nice and pristine. Mr. Parrish is so consistent, but his heart is here. And our hearts are here as well with him. And what a great backdrop to this memorial service. Wouldn't you agree? I'd also, and this was put together pretty quickly. And it's a tribute to what you can do when you have the right wheel. I just got a call a couple of days ago I got a text by Councilman Colbert about chairs. I thought 40 would be enough. Obviously, we should have had more. But I didn't know that we need that many. The operations department under the leadership of Franklin Custer is here. And his workers who made this happen very quickly in 24 hours, basically. As well as we have our fire department here present. We're glad that they're here. And the honor guard, who always grace us with their dignity and their presence. We really appreciate it. Today we're gathered here to not only mourn the loss of a very good man, but to celebrate his remarkable life. And while we mourn the loss of Neil Armstrong, we also acclaim his extraordinary hope, and Councilman Colbert talked about it at length, the hope that he inspires for our community. And it serves as an example to our young people, not only here in our community, but around the world. Work hard and make all your dreams come true, regardless of where you are. Thank God that Armstrong's legacy starts right here in Warren, Ohio. And as mentioned before, this site shows where he took his first flight in 1936. And as we all know, in 1969, he became the first man to walk on the moon. To that end, we have to thank for this great backdrop and this great replica, this great memorial, Mr. Pete Perry and Mr. Dan Nabby. Dan, I spoke with him earlier. Dan, would you wave your hand? He's in the back. Thank you, Dan. God bless you. But it's their vision that created this lunar modular site. Now, about 4 weeks ago, about a month ago, the family with Mr. Parrish's family was in the office to celebrate his 90th birthday, and they were picking up a proclamation. One of the things that, and this was obviously before the death of our hero, Mr. Armstrong, but Mr. Perry talked about when he moved to Florida, there was an engineer who had the plan to hit, quite ironically, lived down the street from. And he had the plans of this, the original plans of the lunar module that actually went on the moon. And after this site was built, Mr. Perry relayed to me that he said that there's no replica in the world that reflects and captures what this site does right here in Warren, Ohio. This is the most complete replica of the lunar module anywhere in the world. So we should be proud of that. And I thank him again for his vision. Most of us remember the infamous words, the famous words of Neil Armstrong as he took his first steps on the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Those are inspiring words still to this day. And we should all be inspired, and we should inspire our children and the rest of our community to keep that spirit alive. As mayor of the city of Warren, I want all that were impacted by this exemplary life, that we know that our prayers and thoughts are with them at this time during the loss of such an awesome man. God bless you, and God continue to bless this country. And I also like to acknowledge our state representative who just walked there, Tom Nelson in the back. Thanks for coming, Tom. God bless you all. Thank you.
I was asked right before this program started today, one of the volunteers would like to say a word on behalf of the people in the community who volunteered and put their tireless efforts into making this happen. Diane Rodney.
What I really wanted to say was, I don't know how many of you know the old saying, something happens only once in a blue moon. Well, we're going to have a blue moon on Friday, and that's the same day that we were going to oh my God. And so, I just wanted to say, every time you look up and you see a moon, a full moon, whatever, think of me.
I think, personally, my greatest thought, and having my grandpa has done so much for this community, my mother has done so much for this community, and being a proud Warren resident my entire life, and from the West Side, the most important thing that I want everyone to hear and take from this is that you can come from Warren, Ohio, and go to the moon. Anything is possible. You can be from Warren, Ohio, and go anywhere. You don't have to be